Welcome back. So let's start actually explaining the Entity framework just a little bit so you know what it's all about. The Entity framework is pretty much what the web API is for us in order to convert an HTTP request into C# code. The Entity framework is a way for us to convert C# code into raw SQL and also to convert rows and data from a database into C#. So that's what the Entity framework is there for. It's a way for us to kind of communicate with a database using link queries or using pretty much code instead of writing SQL queries ourselves. Now, there are good and bad things about the Entity framework. We can discuss some of them during this tutorial right here, but out of the box, Entity framework is what we call an ORM framework, an object relation mapping framework. So again, pretty much that means that we can take code that we write in Java, in C#, in TypeScript. In my case, it's C#. And then automatically this ORM framework right here can actually figure out how to take that C# code and convert it into, in this case, SQL queries, so we can get data from a database. And let's say it was a select query it built to get data from the database. It wouldn't return a row. It would actually automatically convert it into C# objects for us again. So it's a way again to map our objects, both when we kind of try to create queries, we'll use link to create some simple C# code that converts into SQL. And when we read the queries and get data back from the database, the ORM framework will automatically convert it back to C# objects for us. So we don't even know there's actually running any kind of SQL queries behind the scenes. We just know that we write some C# code, and then in the end we get some C# objects back. And then the engine kind of hides all the rest for us in some kind of black box, right? So that's what we're going to do next lesson. We're going to start using the Entity framework instead of actually using, in our case right now, instead of using an in-memory database. Let's try and have a look at our code right here, because right now we are using a package called the fake SQL DB right here, and this is the database that I'm faking right now. So what we're going to do now, before we end the video, is just make a new project. I'm going to make a completely different project for the Entity framework, because I want that project to, I could just keep this if I wanted to for later usage, but this new project right here is going to be for the Entity framework for me to use that one. So I'm going to make a new package right here. Let's just put in the name, innotech. And then put in the name of the application, video application 2021. There we go, and then let's just call it EF right here. And let's actually call it EF Core, so we know it's the core framework. Again, .NET 5 is not being called core anymore, but it's still, yeah, I like that term. It's just a class library, notice that. It's just a class library. And let's just create this one, and then we are actually good to go to make our new setup right here. What I want to do before we leave is get rid of the class file. I'll just delete that one. You can either go this way through the menu or just press the delete button. And then the final thing I want to do is just get kind of the same architecture that we have down here. So I want a folder that I can use for repositories. There we go, repositories. There we go. And then I want one for entities, because we're going to make pretty much the same structure that we had in this data setup we did down here. So I'll have entities. Let's wait with the converters. I'll get back to those later, but I'll have these two available. So that's the new project that I'm going to use. And just to make it perfectly clear, what's going to happen is this new project will, when we're done, completely replace this project. So this project will be deleted when we're actually done, because we don't need that anymore. And that means we're going to go from a repository that saves things into a small memory list into repositories that are going to save things into an SQLite database. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and next lesson we're going to get started with the first thing, which is actually just getting the Entity framework up and running. So see you next time. Bye.